What do you think is the single biggest thing that decides whether someone's going to sink or swim in a new job? Is it their degree, their technical skills? Well, the answer might actually surprise you. And it points to this massive, unsolved problem in the professional world that's costing companies a fortune.
Right. Let's just get straight into it. We all kind of assume that people get hired for what they know, right? Their hard skills. They can code, they can design, they can crunch the numbers. But what if I told you the real story, the reason so many promising careers just totally stall out, has almost nothing to do with any of that? Because as it turns out, the #1 reason people fail isn't technical at all. It's not about what they know, it's about how they interact, how they communicate, how they lead. We are talking about a full-blown, but kind of silent crisis in soft skills. Just look at this number, 89%. This is the absolute heart of the problem. A staggering 89% of the time, a new hire just doesn't work out. It's because of a gap in these critical human skills. Think about that. It's not a small issue. It's pretty much the default reason for failure. And that 89%, well, it's a huge red flag. But when you start digging in, you realize it's just the tip of the iceberg. This isn't just about a few bad hires here and there. It points to a fundamental and very costly breakdown in how we get people ready for the modern workplace. Now take a look at this. This chart just paints such a clear picture of the disconnect. On one side, you see that 89% of hiring failures are because of poor soft skills, which is exactly why 92% of recruiters say they're prioritizing them. But then, and this is the kicker, look at the other side. 40% of companies are struggling to find people with those exact skills. This isn't just a gap, it's a chasm between what the market needs and what the talent pool has.
And this quote just drives the point home. The people who are literally the gatekeepers to getting a job are telling us, flat out, that these human skills are more valuable than technical ones. They know what they're looking for, but they just can't find it.
So here's the paradox, right? Everyone agrees it's a massive problem, but only about a third of companies are even attempting to offer training. Now, why is that? It's not because they don't want to invest. It's because, frankly, the old way of teaching these skills is completely broken.
So you have to ask, if this is such a well-known crisis, why is this gap so huge? It's because the old solutions, the weekend workshops, the corporate training days, they just don't work. They don't produce a real return on investment.
See, the issue isn't a lack of trying. It's that the methods themselves are flawed. They just don't get to the root of how people actually learn and master these complex interpersonal skills.
So let's break down why these old methods feel so badly. For starters, the feedback you get is totally subjective, right? It's colored by a coach's own biases. The content is generic. It's this canned, one-size-fits-all script that doesn't actually help you with your specific challenges. There's no real-time feedback. You hear about what you did wrong hours or even days later. And how do you even measure if you're getting better? You can't. It's all based on feelings, not data. And to top it all off, it's incredibly expensive and impossible to scale across an entire organization.
So how do you really learn to handle a tough conversation or motivate a team? Well, it's the same way you learn any other skill. You practice. You need consistent, focused practice with immediate feedback. But who can you practice with safely, objectively, and in a way that can actually scale?
And this is where things get really interesting. This brings us to the solution. Let's look at how technology is stepping in to solve this very, very human problem. This is where a platform like SoftAgents comes in, and it's offering a totally new way to think about professional development.
Okay, so the first piece of this puzzle is using AI-powered avatars. Thanks to something called natural language processing, you can have these incredibly realistic, unscripted conversations. You can practice giving tough feedback, you can practice negotiating a deal, and the avatar reacts dynamically, just like a real person would. It forces you to think on your feet.
And this is where the magic happens. While you're talking to that avatar, there's an AI coach that's analyzing everything, your word choice, your tone, your pacing, and it gives you instant objective feedback. Things like, hey, you used filler words 5 times there, or your tone shifted negatively when you brought up the deadline. This is the key to real, measurable improvement. So here's how the platform actually walks you through it. First, it diagnoses your unique skill gaps. No more of that one-size-fits-all stuff. Then, it builds a custom plan, just for you. You learn the theory behind it, and then you immediately get to practice it with those AI avatars. And finally, and this is so important, it helps you transfer that practice into a real plan you can use on the job. It connects the training directly to your performance. So to put it all together,
Soft Agents is a platform that finally makes soft skills training what it always should have been: safe, measurable, and totally personalized. Honestly, you can think of it like a flight simulator, or maybe a gym, for your social and leadership muscles.
And this isn't just some vague idea. The team behind this has over a decade of experience in business and software. Plus, they're backed by advisors from Harvard University who specialize in both artificial intelligence and organizational psychology. They've got the tech and the science to actually make this work.
And here's the payoff. Because the training is so personalized, data-driven, and based on actual practice, the platform can deliver up to a 10-fold improvement in development metrics. Now, for companies that are staring down that 89% failure rate, this isn't just a small improvement, it's a game changer for talent development and a massive return on investment.
So what's the big takeaway here? We are looking at a fundamental shift. The era of those ineffective, unmeasurable training sessions is over. We now have a scalable, tech-driven solution that offers a clear, dramatic, and quantifiable way to close that skills gap for good.
And it leaves us with this really fascinating question for the future, doesn't it? As AI gets better and better at teaching us the very skills we consider to be uniquely human, what does that mean for us? How does that change the definition of talent and leadership? I mean, what happens when everyone has access to their own world-class personal coach 24/7?